Good evening, everyone. The mission, unfortunately, to save the Swift telescope has been called off. It just didn't work. They're going to let it auger in. Here's a twofer for you. A Chinese company landed a reusable rocket. Will this finally be a wake-up call for the U.S. and the West over the challenges that China poses now? It's going to open up the floodgates. Two companies released second quarter financials. Rocket Lab inks a neutron rocket deal with Kepler. Something called Dragonfly may become the most exciting NASA mission ever. The Carlyle Group joins and maybe leads a $1 billion investment in a missile startup. Yes, you heard that right, a missile startup. The Starship 13 upper stage reaches land after 24 days at sea. We got a report on that. Starlink expands its Bastrop facility. I don't even know where that is. We're going to find out. And Starlink, again, caves into pressure and restores Poland to the EU roaming zone. All this and our returning guest, Tom Marrotta. From the news desk at the Center for Space Commerce and Finance, my name is Thomas Andrew Olson, and this is The Unknown Quantity. As you know, this program is brought to you by the Center for Space Commerce and Finance. We champion and strengthen emerging space startups and space-adjacent enterprises worldwide through advisory, access, and advocacy. Our legendary pitch events and world-class boot camps fortify startups to be better investor-ready. There's going to be a lot more on that coming in the future, so stay tuned for those announcements. In addition, this podcast, which has become kind of a crown jewel of our activities, is largely supported by our listeners and fans like you. So just go to cscf.space/support. Click that Plain as Day donate button. $10, $25, $50, $100 even. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things, but it makes a big difference for us. And in the U.S., it's tax deductible. And to sweeten the deal, you're going to love this. We have a special offer coming up this week and in future weeks. Donors are going to receive a free special report in their inboxes that we just published today on the first 25 years of new space and how we went from nothing to a $700 billion industry in the space of a single generation. It's an amazing story, inspiring material. You're going to want this. So throw something in the tip jar and you get one in your inbox. It's as simple as that. Thanks in advance. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell your friends. Speaking of friends, my longest space friend, Michael Lane, who just finished harvesting his lotus flowers, is here with us. Come on in.
Namaste.
Namaste. You must smell really strange now, too, having those flowers. All stuff all over that pollen.
How are you?
I'm okay. Yeah, we published a pamphlet today. We published a special report.
It's a big deal.
And it is a big deal. And I think it's going to turn to something bigger, honestly. But I'm not going to announce that part yet because I have no idea what it's going to be or when. But this thing is really, really cool as a standalone project. And with the help of a lot of people, especially Sean, and some great technology, we got this thing done in about 36 hours.
Right. Yeah. No, it's remarkable. It is. I'm gonna put it up on screen for a second longer because I want to point out some stuff. But it is. Well, maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm not. Am I? I am.
You're not. Okay, there it is.
So 0 to 1, right? Like, let's just let that sink in for a second. This $10 million prize really started with Diamandis and crew standing up on a stage at St. Louis and basically asking the Rotary to fund his $10 million prize, which they didn't, by the way. And it started out as a $500,000 prize that then the insurance companies took on. Like this little industry of ours is amazing. And it turns out a lot of people don't know how amazing it is. We got a chance to give a presentation. I'm not going to name the company right now, but we got to give a presentation to a I thought I was stop sharing. Maybe I didn't stop sharing. There we go. We got to give a presentation to a major company this week that has nothing at all to do with space. And Sean and Tom absolutely knocked it out of the park. Absolutely. And they each came up with a report to showcase this industry that we're in. So Tom took the history and what he showcased in this little new booklet. We started from basically nothing as an industry, and in 25 short years, we're a $700 billion agency. I looked it up today. That is equal, it's about 10% bigger than the state of Arizona's gross domestic product, and it's about 10% bigger than Austria's gross domestic. I mean, we have gone from nothing to something pretty dang fast. So hats off to Tom for putting together the historic perspective, and hats off to Sean for describing the future, right? Where are we now? And then where do we get to 10 years more from now? So
now,
great job, both of you. I just want to say thanks to both of y'all.
I think you guys will love it too. A little in the tip jar, you get it. So thanks for that in advance. But before we start, I mean, I want to say hello, everybody. Veronica's here. We missed you too. Morty's back. So
Morty's back.
I guess so. He's Mr. Married Man now. Congratulations, good for you. I want to say Joe Luttrell though, because he mentioned, maybe it was after the show, he talked about he's saying there's no killer app for space.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sean and I talked about this too. And my opinion is there are actually multiple killer apps, and we already are working in one right now, and we've had it since 1999. It's called the CubeSat.
Mm-hmm.
And given what you read in the book, you'll understand why. It's opened up the floodgates to everything. I really got this industry kickstarted. So we already have a killer app. It's the CubeSat, invented before the term new space was invented, even. So There you go. I think there will be multiple killer apps as time goes by and we develop certain different capabilities. As we go on and build the industry more and we get more to the moon, we start developing things. I think there are going to be multiple killer apps that are just going to keep that growth flowing. And we'll just kind of slowly transition from one to the next and the next to the next. And you may not even notice it. So if I'm still around in 25 years to write a follow-up, we'll see what's going on.
I would love to see this as a year-by-year breakdown, because I think there's so much going on.
There is. And it's all open. It's all a possibility. We're opening up floodgates of our own right now. So there you go. Okay, to the news.
Doug's back too. We haven't seen Doug in a while too. It's old home week. Thanks, y'all. All right, let's get to it. We got a lot to do tonight.
Yep, and we're getting better at doing it quickly. And this one's really short. After all the back and forth and all the reports we've done about the mission to save the Swift Space Telescope, they're officially calling it quits. They said we can't make the rescue ship work, and so we're just gonna let it go.
Yeah. That's a drag. Thanks for trying, guys. Catalyst did the best they could. It was a rushed mission. They talked about it even before they launched. It was a rushed mission. When you consider the scope of it, it was only roughly $30 million for a spacecraft that's been operational for 20 years. And it was a good gamble. It didn't work, but it was a good gamble. So I hope that NASA does things like that, fast tracks things to take a little bit of risk. And even if it didn't work, it was a really strong technology demonstrator. So pretty good. Pretty cool.
Next up, this is kind of a back-to-back twofer. The floodgates are open because another Chinese private company, by the way, landed a reusable rocket. And so we're getting some competition. It's a big deal. It's vaguely important. And that brings up the topic because somebody else at the same day at Ars Technica said, look, the United States needs to wake up to the threat from China's space program.
Yep.
And the big question they asked in their article was, will China assert territorial rights where its rover explores? If memory serves, they are not a signatory to the Outer Space Treaty, are they?
To the Outer Space Treaty, they are, but not to the Moon Treaty.
Right. Well, no one signed the Moon Treaty except by 9 countries, and 2 of them were trying to get out of it.
Yeah.
And that makes sense. So, but they may just say, you know what? We just don't want to do that anymore. Because we did that under, I think it was George W.
Yeah.
He just dumped the ABM treaty with Russia. Said, no, we're not going to do that anymore.
Yep.
I mean, but never mind.
I'm just gonna do this little video here. I know it's super small. You can find it online, but a couple weeks ago they caught a different company. That's important to note. A different company caught it in a net, and we reported on that.
Oh yeah.
But this is what Blue did, what SpaceX did.
Yes, this looks like a Falcon 9 landing.
Right. Yeah.
I wonder where they got that ability.
I wonder where they got the idea to do it. Right. Yeah. But I mean, okay. Think about this for a second. It was years. I think I heard it was 11 years between SpaceX's orbital capability and Blue Origin's orbital capability. And both of these Chinese companies did it within months of each other. Months.
Yeah.
So they have 2 qualified orbital vehicles, 2 different companies that can land and return, fly and return. Mm-hmm. America has 2. Rocket Lab is working really hard. Relativity is working really hard. Stoke is really working hard. Astra is working a little bit. Like there's probably 6 or 7 in development in the US, but China, credit where it's due, has 2 capable systems now. So,
yeah. And Doug Plott is saying that these Chinese companies are 11 years behind SpaceX. Even if that's true, is it going to take them 11 years to catch up?
Yeah, I think that's an apples to oranges comparison.
Yep.
I do.
Yep.
Yes, and Starship is going to make a bunch of stuff redundant. We don't doubt that. But the fact is they've got capabilities that I really hope others are paying attention to. Yeah. All right. Let's move on. We got a lot to go.
Move on. This is a quick one. Firefly Aerospace announces their second quarter financial results. They have a record revenue of $117.7 million, which is up 659% year over year. That's why I put this here.
Yeah, that's insane. Yeah. I didn't realize it was that big a jump. So good for them. This industry group that we were talking to yesterday and earlier in the week, they're trying to understand how big is the market and what the future looks like. And they're trying to understand, just around the perspective of an elevator on the moon. I'm like, no, that's the wrong thing. Like, if you do the things that you're talking about, the elevator becomes a footnote in the industry.
Yeah.
Because there's so much other revenue that you're going to capture. And this kind of technology demonstration that Firefly is doing, that everybody else is doing, it's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah. It's like the industry as it is right now. A future generation is growing up right now who never knew that booster rockets were originally disposable.
Right.
They'll see it. Of course it's reusable rocket. It's launch as a service, of course. This is what of course it is, like growing up on an iPad. Yeah, here you go. Of course you're going to do that. They're going to see the space elevator the same way. It's just a form of movement of stuff and people up and down. And it'll be the ground base for everything.
Yeah. Tom, that's impossible. Tom Olson. Sorry, dang it. Tom Marrotta. Oh my God, I'm screwing you guys up already. I'm going to do that all night. What I was going to make was a comment to Marrotta, our guest. He says, my 12-year-old son is not at all interested in expendable launches. He's like, you mean this one can't land? Because there's like that's it. There's a whole generation that doesn't understand card catalogs systems. There's a whole generation that doesn't know that there wasn't an internet once. There's a whole generation that doesn't know life before an iPhone.
You have to be joking, Dad. Look at what's going on. Look at the rockets going up and down.
Right. That's how God intended it.
Who would do that?
Right? Yeah.
Your grandpa worked on it. So hey,
this one can't be caught by a giant Mechazilla tower. Lame. Absolutely. Okay. So here we are. We're building the future. All right, let's keep going.
Next big one, Intuitive Machines. They have a second quarter results. They have a record expansion with a quarter end backlog of $1.8 billion.
Woo.
So they booked $920 million of awards and an additional $300 million in Q3 across quarter to date across commercial, civil, and national security. They signed a $600 million contract for 3 commercial geo satellites. As that commercial demand strength continues, they've got another CLIPS lander contract.
Mm-hmm. That's part of them acquiring Astrobotic. So they wouldn't have had that if they hadn't made that acquisition. Yep.
And they have a cash balance right now of $367 million and a record backlog of $1.8 billion.
This is the number I'm paying attention to: $206 million in quarterly revenues.
Yep.
200. How would you like to build a company that has 200 million in quarterly revenues? I think I'd be pretty happy with that.
I'd be feeling real comfortable in life with something like that. And let's just keep it going, right?
Yeah, right.
Okay.
All right, keep going.
Rocket Lab inks a neutron launch deal with Kepler Communications. And so they've been selected. So Kepler has decided to launch a dedicated neutron mission for space infrastructure. And they're going to be launching from Wallops.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe sometime in 2028.
Right. Mars, Mid-Atlantic. What's R stand for? What does R stand for? Mid-Atlantic Rocket Space. I don't know what Mars stands for, but that's where they're going. Good for them. I don't think we've gone a week without reporting on Rocket Lab in 6 months. I feel like every single week we have another deal for Rocket Lab.
Yeah, they built a new facility. They're getting a new office set up in Europe. They're doing everything right now. They're doing it right.
Yep.
And so they cross about 11 time zones now, same as Russia. They're launching in Alaska. They're doing stuff in Germany.
Yeah. Good on them. Yeah. All right, this one I don't know. What's this thing about Dragonfly? Because I didn't read this article. I don't know what this
Dragonfly is actually an automated mission to Titan.
Okay.
Moon of Saturn that actually has a thick atmosphere you could use for something other than look at, or for aero braking. They're sending a helicopter.
Huh.
So Dragonfly, they're sending a big helicopter, and that's going to do crap tons of exploration and data gathering like we could never do before.
I dig that. I'm not going to say it's the most exciting thing NASA's ever done, but it's cool. All right, good. Most exciting mission this century is taking shape. I don't think I agree with that sentence, but I think it's a cool mission. So,
Well, I mean, it's going to launch this thing. It's going to be buzzing around in the atmosphere, but they're also they're not searching. It says it's not. They're not searching for signs of life, but prebiotic chemical processes. They're actually common on both Titan and Earth. Chemistry that predates biology on Earth. So we could learn a lot about how things developed on our own planet under the right conditions by just studying that chemistry. Apparently, it's more common than we think. So that makes it important, I think.
It is. I wish that NASA would just one day decide they wanted to look for life, because I think they always shy away from it instead of directly look for it. But I love it. Let's move on. We got other stuff to talk about here.
Absolutely. Here we go. Yeah, we got a few minutes. Okay. This is just a real quick one. Again, the Carlyle Group joined a $1 billion investment round in a missile startup called Castellium.
That's insane.
Yeah. It was the word startup that caught me. A startup at $1 billion from Carlyle Group, probably the leader on that one. But also has JP Morgan Chase and Andreessen Horowitz. A lot of biggies. And they're making a Blackbeard hypersonic missile.
Do you remember the days when we would ridicule people? They would come in with a PowerPoint that says, if you give me $1 billion, I can do blah, blah, blah. And we're like, that's insane. Stop doing that. Focus on what you can accomplish. Bring it down smaller. Develop a minimum viable product. And now people are going out and getting funding. I mean, look at our guy from StarCloud with his $400 million and 88,000 paper satellites, right? Like, it's insane. I mean, it's the thing that makes me think I can build an elevator on the moon now, because people are writing checks like that. So
I know, and you only needed 350 million.
Right. Like,
I'm a bargain
compared to that.
The day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's think of SpaceX itself.
Yeah.
When Tesla went public, its value was set at about 1.7 billion.
Wow, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, and then now we go to the SpaceX IPO. They've added 3 zeros.
Right. Insane. All right, moving on. So that's good. $1 billion for a startup.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so I got a picture here of basically it looks like a mechanical beached whale. It's I guess they tugged 24 days at sea through the Indian Ocean. They finally tugged Starship into port. Where'd they land? Somewhere in Australia, I think they finally landed. So getting it back in one piece was amazing.
Yep.
To Christmas Island.
Says a lot for what they did. I want to ask Tom, our resident space at sea guy, what he thinks about that little maneuver, because that seemed really complicated.
Yeah.
All right. What else on SpaceX? We got another one.
Yeah, so I think we're on the. Are we on the last one? Maybe we're not.
Yeah, 2 of them. Yeah.
No, we got 2 more to go, and they're quick. So they have they're doing a $7 million expansion at their Bastrop site. I was going to look at it, so I forgot where is Bastrop. Their Bastrop plant, Texas. It's in Texas. Okay, never mind. But they're doing renovations to everything, and I guess they're going to expand their facility and their ability to do stuff. So,
cool.
Okay, and then just kind of the funny one of the day at the end. I guess after a lot of bitching and moaning by Poland and maybe other European countries, broke down and Starlink restored Poland to European roaming zone.
I'm sure that was due to our reporting a couple weeks ago. I'm sure that we were the catalyst.
I know. I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
We never get the credit for it, but I'm sure people are watching this show. It's just they don't talk about it. There's guys at DARPA, guys that look at it, and they're typing a little.
I've seriously thought that because we'll report on something on Thursday night, and Friday morning it'll be news at at Payload.
Yeah,
they will report on things that we have said here the night before.
Well, then Sean says he's only it's tongue in cheek, but he might have a point. They hate us for being right.
Right. All right, let's bring on Marrotta. What's going on?
Okay. All right. Our guest tonight is Thomas Marrotta. He is the founder and CEO of the Spaceport Company. He's returning to the program to talk about what he's doing in the world of making spaceports. Fun and profit.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, man.
Hey, how's things?
Great. Yeah.
Good. Every time I see you with your mustache, I am surprised. Every time. I don't know why.
I'm glad it's memorable. I'm just enjoying the backstage chat. I think Sean is doing a great job back there, keeping herding your cats.
Wait. I cannot hear you very well. Can you move a little closer to your speak?
I can hear you fine, but it's
Can you hear me now?
A little bit muffled, man. All right. Don't worry about it. Tom can hear you. It's coming through on the mic.
Figure it out.
All right.
I like the little handlebar 19th century thing you got going. It's I can never grow that. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I can't grow any hair, so I figured I'd grow some hair on my face. How about that?
Why do you think I wear a hat?
Yeah.
And
how are you? What's going on?
I'm rocking the Spaceport Company 250th T-shirt.
Right.
Cool. See that?
Nice.
Anniversary. So we did some rocket launches in July. We did a campaign here in August.
Wait. You got to tell us a little bit about you because not everybody, like I know you and Tom knows you, but nobody else knows you. So background, what's your origin story? How'd you get here? That drill.
Sure.
A minute. No.
Great. First of all, thanks for having me on again, guys. I always enjoy chatting with you. I'm sorry it's been so long. For those who don't know me, my name is Tom Marrotta, CEO and founder of the Spaceport Company. And what we do, very simply, is we launch rockets from ships at sea. We're creating and operating unique infrastructure solutions for the aerospace industry. My background, very briefly, a pretty eclectic background, trained as a city planner. My first job out of college was with a startup company called the Liftport Group, which a lot of people might know of, and went on to become a city planner. Like I said, I was a foreign service officer, served overseas in Europe and Africa and Iraq, transitioned my federal service over to the FAA. So for 5 years, I worked in the FAA's rocket office and saw the industry grow. SpaceX, Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, all the names that you've been discussing in the news here, helped see them grow. And then for about a year, I worked at Astra, lived the pain of trying to find cost-effective and reliable and predictable launch pad access, and thought, gosh, somebody needs to address this demand-supply imbalance between, increasing demand for launch ranges and test ranges and the lack of supply. So started the Spaceport Company in 2022. The orbital launch industry was a very different place in 2022 than it is today. Essentially, SpaceX has consolidated a lot of its hold over the industry. And so we pivoted from focusing on orbital launch to missile testing, drone testing, weapons development. The reason Castellion raised $1 billion is because they have $500 million in DO Department of War contracts. There is a lot of weapons development happening in the United States right now because the world is a very unstable place, unfortunately. Every missile needs a new test range. Building new test ranges is essentially impossible, just like it's very hard to build a new Cape Canaveral. So we own and operate America's only commercial launch pad ship. We operate missile test ranges at sea in both the Gulf of America and now the Atlantic Ocean. We've done 10 missile launch campaigns at sea. We have multiple contracts from both the government and commercial entities like Lockheed Martin, Crossbow, and others. And we do have assets available for orbital launch. We have marine assets available for that right now. And so if any small launch providers are out there looking for additional launch pads or their first launch pad, I would love to hear from you.
Right on.
I have a news story that I'm not sure that you mentioned that I would love to talk about.
Okay.
I just got an email from Ars Technica. The title was "Satellite Industry in Launch Crisis." Apparently, it is very hard, if not impossible, to book a Falcon 9 after 2028.
Yep.
When did we cover that? This last
Monday. We covered it on Monday.
Last Monday. Yeah.
No, we're very aware of that.
They're freaking out, man. They're completely freaking out.
Is that accurate? Is it?
It is absolutely.
It kind of feels like many in the satellite industry just don't have a ride to space after 2028.
They don't. It's a real problem, and it's worse because a couple months ago, Blue Origin, who would have naturally filled that void, they cut that program. And so all of a sudden, if you take Falcon 9 out of the equation and don't have a replacement with Starship, you're left with second and third tier rocketry, which puts us right back to 2005. Right. So
but China, as we just reported, has at least 2 private rocket companies that are doing reusables now. I'm sure would love to hear from you.
We just booked our flight for our satellite is going on InnoSpace, and I've said at least 100 times this week that's the riskiest rocket in the whole industry. Right?
I don't mean to be the bearer of bad news, but they just crashed a rocket earlier today or yesterday.
I know. Riskiest rocket in the industry.
You should ask for a discount, Michael.
We were supposed to fly in November, and God knows when we're going to fly now.
You know what? Back in the day, almost every Atlas rocket that was built blew up until John Glenn sat on it.
Yeah.
Then they didn't dare.
Yeah. All right. So your perspective, right? You've got orbital capability ship. Describe your ship, because I haven't seen like a life-size picture of it. So
right. So we have multiple marine assets now. Since the last time we came on, we've tested what we call our tri-sub. It is a semi-submersible proprietary platform. It's basically a very small floating oil rig. It is intended, again, for military applications, so to be a counter drone, counter UAS missile launch platform. So that's our smallest platform. And then the next largest platform up from that is our ship. It's a former Navy ship. It's 180 foot long by 40 foot. And so we've done some larger missile tests for customers and IRAD from that. But you couldn't launch an orbital rocket from either of these platforms. They're just too small. Yeah. And the ship it has to remain crewed during operations due to Coast Guard regulations. It's not advanced enough to have the dynamic positioning and the thrusters to remain in place without crew on it. So that's out. But we do have access to larger, they're called lift boats or jacked up platforms, where it's a barge. You build up the small, the expeditionary launch pad on the barge. Barge gets towed out, it puts down legs, and the thing lifts up. And so we have access to those. And then we have access to regular, just large deck barges. And we completed, again, it was another DoD contract, a design process to launch up to a launch vehicle up to 100 tons in gross liftoff weight,
Wow.
something along the scale of a Firefly Alpha from a deck barge from anywhere in the ocean. So the challenge that we've had up until very recently, well, we still continue to have this challenge, is no customers, right? The orbital launch industry, like I said, has been dominated and is still dominated by SpaceX, but with SpaceX choosing to exit the rideshare market, as well as the boom, let's call it, in the interest in AI data centers and potentially AI data centers in space. I'm wondering if what's old is new again. Might there be a resurgence in launch, right? For at least 3 years now, 4 years now, going to a venture capitalist and saying, I want to start a rocket launch company has been the kiss of death. They're like,
Right.
I'm not interested. That's a stupid idea. I wonder if that's changing. My thought is, SpaceX at any moment could crush this market by saying, oh, we're going to do rideshare on Starship.
Right.
So on the other hand, their Starship will be entirely occupied with launching AI data center satellites and Starlinks.
Yeah.
Right. And there's a Pez dispenser as well. They could change all that, of course, but I'm curious to hear your thoughts on the dynamics, right? I feel like SpaceX is still the elephant in the room and is still very much driving the bus when it comes to launch in the West, at least.
Again, I think I can see why the satellite providers are so upset about this.
Yeah.
Simply because it's not just a matter of Musk saying, okay, well, everything's going to be Starship now. Put all my eggs in Starship, and we can launch 10 times as much stuff, and rideshare and all that, and it'd actually be more economic for you if you get on board. But you know what's going to happen, as you said, AI data centers are going to take priority, and all the stuff he wants to do on the moon is going to take priority. And so there's still a shortage, even if he has a launch cadence of 100 a week.
Beanhoff just posted something. I read about it earlier today. It's really important. I'm going to put his post up here. Hey, Pastrito, glad you're here. Thanks. I'm glad you're paying attention to this one. This is from Dallas. There have now been 2 companies that have bought a whole SpaceX launch and are offering availability to other companies, right? So this is almost a back door to a ride share.
We know both of those companies. We're actually pretty close to both of those companies, and I have been told in good confidence that while they were able to buy these launches, SpaceX has said, no, we won't sell you a Falcon 9 after 2029.
Yep.
They've asked for, can we buy multiple entire Falcon 9s, every 2 years or every 18 months, and SpaceX has just said no. They're burning the ships. They're going straight to Starship.
There is a whole industry right now that's feeling like bait and switched, right? A whole industry.
Well, there's just a lack of competition is what it is. It's been the same story for 5 years.
We've been talking about this as a monopoly environment, and that we're kind of held hostage by a very mercurial leader of a. And
I don't begrudge Elon Musk.
No.
But this is an opportunity, right? This is a great opportunity. I've been saying for a while we need more rocket companies. You just talked about all these companies that are raising hundreds of millions, billions of dollars. Maybe it's time for some of that to go into launch.
I think that people really are beginning to understand that spaceports writ large is the gating factor. It's not about technology anymore, and it's not about money anymore necessarily. But if you don't have a place that you can actually go from, they're not making any more Cape Canaveral. There's no more room there. There's no more,
we kind of pivoted from launch to launch sites, and
right.
I like that. I appreciate that. but a launch site needs rockets, right?
Right. Yep.
So, but you're spot on. I mean, part of the reason we're seeing so much demand for our services is because they're not building any more Cape Canaverals, but they're also not building any more White Sand Missile Ranges or China Lake,
Right.
sea test ranges. These are kind of exquisite facilities, and it's very challenging to take away someone's beach or someone's seaside access to
Right.
build a military test range today, or
Right.
even a commercial spaceport.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Joe. We talked about the two China companies earlier in the show during our news segment. Tom, Olson. Go.
Yeah, here's the thing. Just I think it was only a couple of years ago. Space Fund, they have this ongoing list they have on their website of all the different companies and new space companies and what they do, and how many are out there, and startups, mostly in the startup world. And at the time, they said there were 112 companies involved in launch. And so, from what I'm hearing from you guys, I guess 100 of those companies don't matter, and they're not doing squat.
Right, most of them are gone.
I wouldn't say that. I mean, building a launch company is extremely capital intensive.
Yep.
And for many years, there was not the SpaceX was suppressing competition. They were being good capitalists. Again, don't begrudge them for that. There was no financial incentive for investors to put money into a launch company when SpaceX could just launch, at below cost in some instances, or at cost. And Rocket Lab figured this out by finding a niche and being reliable, but their timing was exquisite. And Rocket Lab, I would argue, was no longer a launch company. They're a components company that just has a launch, a vertically integrated launch service inside of the company. Just like SpaceX is not really a launch company. They're not even anymore a satellite internet company. They're an AI company. If you look at their
So, we said that a while ago. I'm going to challenge you. I think you should tackle point to point as a real thing. Say, here's our pitch deck. We're going to do point to point from Seattle to San Francisco, and I think that is a market. I'm just going to put that out there
and do that. But we need a rocket. We are not in the rocket business. We are selling the shuttles. We are selling the spaceports, and so we have the assets to support that for a relatively small rocket. Something Electron sized or Astra sized. Yeah, I mean, if there was a rocket company out there, I'll give a shout out to Bill Bruner and New Frontier Aerospace. Right, they have a vertical takeoff and landing rocket plane. It's essentially perfect application for what you're describing. And he has been a big believer in the spaceport company for years, and we are a big believer in his company because it's the perfect complement. It would be exactly that. And so we up until I think today, up until very recently, it's been a very capital constrained environment for launch. But I'm hopeful that that's changing with everything we've been discussing.
I'm going to do a shout out to Pastrudo here. Joe, did you hear what Tom just said? Because I really hope you were paying attention to that part. All right. So tell us about Expo. Expo. What are they called?
Crossbow. They pronounce the name of their company Crossbow. Yeah.
Crossbow.
Yeah.
So they just got a big pile of money. Also, does any of that flow your direction?
Well, they bought our services, so it's always great when you have a product or a service and sell it for more than it costs for you to make, and so that's what we're in the business of doing, right? They are developing a missile, a counter drone missile called Buckler. Currently, when in places like the Strait of Hormuz. We're using $3 million Patriot missiles to shoot down $50,000 drones. And the Patriot system is exquisite. It's great. It works excellent. But there's not a lot of them, and they're really expensive. And so the Department of War has been dumping money into the development of cheaper interceptor missiles. And Crossbow has a solution. Lockheed has a solution. I think Castellian has there's lots of companies that have a solution. Crossbow needed to test this thing in a threat representative environment, and they engaged the spaceport company to launch their Buckler test missile from our ship in the Gulf of America, and so we did that in July. It was outstanding. We did multiple launches. They gathered lots of data, and you'd have to check in with them, and they'd be good to have on the show. But I think they've closed a couple of contracts since then, and so we're just pleased to have been able to help them get to the pad faster and to iterate faster. That's the purpose of the spaceport company. Getting to the pad is really, really, really hard, and getting to the pad a second time is really hard, right? Like, you get to the pad once, and then maybe you scrub or something doesn't go right. It might be another 6 months before you can get on the pad again. We did multiple launches in the same day. They were able to do multiple launches in the same day. Now, this is a very small rocket, but it was. I was very happy that we were able to give them that opportunity to gather data. They were great to work with, but they're not the only company we're working with. We're happy. We did some work with Lockheed last year as well. They were great to work with. Lockheed just announced that they launched a not on our range, but a counter drone missile from a sail drone boat. It's like a robot boat that has a 4-pack of missiles that could come out of it. So a lot of that technology was tested on our range last year before they went off and did it in another place with another company. So yeah, we're it's not what we intended the company to originally be. We really wanted to do commercial orbital launch, and we still hope that comes around. But in the meantime, we're helping a lot of these companies gather data and mature their systems as fast as they can. So, yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Tom Olson. I'm going to do this all night long.
I know. God.
I have something if you don't. I thought you did.
Yeah, I was just kind of cycling the numbers in my head and going, okay, where are they coming from? So you're doing work for customers right now, but you're not launching anything yet. You're trying to make a deal on a boat. Where's the revenue stream coming from right now for you guys?
So we own 2 boats. We already have a boat, and we don't develop rockets. We are providing launch pad services for other folks, and so we're a spaceport. We're a launch range. So our revenue comes when customers come to us. We provide all the same range services that they would get at an existing site on land. So we do all the airspace clearance, all the FAA stuff, all the Coast Guard stuff, all the sea space clearance. And so. Okay. Just like they would go to Kodiak or White Sands or wherever, they come to us. Most of what we do is extremely short range stuff. So I want to be clear. We are not Cape Canaveral, right? We are complementing the big federal ranges. We are not supplanting them. Not even close. We are in a completely different little niche that we've uncovered with these short-range missile tests.
So are you still seeking investment capital, or are you basically
No, we're profitable. Our revenues are growing. We're not actively raising venture capital or anything like that.
Okay. Although Dallas has an interesting question. He said, "Can you export your services to the moon?"
Can I export our services to the moon? I know Dallas, it's tongue in cheek, but we've had conversations with folks in the Space Force, where they said, "Hey, can you build spaceports in orbit? Can you build fuel depots for us? Can you build? Could you put a spaceport on the moon?" And I said, "Yeah, I mean, with enough money, we can do anything, right? But there are no customers for fuel depots in orbit at this point. There's no customers for spaceports on the moon. I think it's awesome. I would love to do it. If I was a Jeff Bezos, richest man in the world, I would be going for it. So can we export our services to the moon? Sure. Should they be exported to the moon? No, not until there are customers for it.
I'm going to repeat something that Marrotta has said last time. He's like, we are a spaceport company. If they want a spaceport in another part of the country, if they want a spaceport in another part of the world, if they want a spaceport on the moon, we are a spaceport company. We can design and build a spaceport to wherever we need to, if there's customers. So
yeah, we're the spaceport company, not the offshore spaceport company.
Right.
We just happen to have found that we can scale our revenues and meet our customer needs by operating offshore. You talked about point to point. I think that's a really good point. We like to think of a future where, so right now in the United States, there's 20,000 airports and airfields for aviation.
Right.
There's only 5 places where you can send a satellite to orbit, or that are sending satellites to orbit regularly. Right. There's Kodiak, there's the Cape, there's Vandenberg, there's Virginia, and then there's Brownsville, which is exclusive to SpaceX. Now you could say, there's Spaceport America, and there's a couple other locations, but that's really, if you're going to send a satellite to orbit, those are the 5 places you'd probably go to. Compare that to 20,000 airports.
Right, it's bonkers.
I like to think about what would it take to have 20,000 spaceports.
Right.
And the problem is rockets are really loud. They're way louder than jet engines. So to have 20,000 spaceports, you might have another 10 or 20 or 30 or even 100 on land somewhere. But those land-based spaceports, especially if they're high cadence, if they're flying rockets every hour, you're going to piss off the neighbors.
Sure.
You're going to have a lot of environmental impacts. The place to scale spaceport operations is offshore. As long as rockets are loud, you want to be 20, 30 miles offshore. And don't take my word for it. Elon Musk has said this.
Right, yeah.
Eventually, Starship has to move offshore. If they're going to be launching hourly, they need to be far away from everybody. And the ocean has a lot of space.
Okay. So I've heard talk for years and years about actually converting airport property into a spaceport-enabled type of thing. Sure. I presume what they're talking about, though, is horizontal launch, which we don't see a lot of right now. Yeah. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so that's been done before, and I see Dallas's comment about Louisiana. So I want to hit that first. I'd be curious to see what happens in Louisiana, Dallas. I think he's referring to SpaceX's rumors, almost confirmed plans. The governor of Louisiana is going to make some big announcement about SpaceX next Tuesday. It's assumed that they're going to build a launch site in Louisiana. SpaceX built Brownsville expecting to launch multiple times a day from Brownsville, and they have been frustrated in that, not because of physical constraints. There's no physical reason you couldn't launch
policy, relations, neighbors.
It's politics, it's regulations. I think they're going to run into that same challenge in Louisiana. I'm also not so sure that Louisiana is just going to be a big data center. I think it might just be a big data center site and have very little to do with launch. So to be determined. Regarding horizontal launch at airports, co-locating rockets and airplanes, that's been done before, right? Like Mojave is Mojave Air and Spaceport,
right?
Where Virgin Galactic operates out of, and I think it's where Stratolaunch currently operates out of. So absolutely, it's been done before. Historically, horizontal takeoff spacecraft have just not been as cost effective as just conventional vertical launched rockets, because the cost of maintaining that airframe is really, really expensive. It has to fly almost every day, and there just hasn't been the cadence yet to justify the maintenance expenses.
Pistruto learned that the hard way. He learned that the hardest possible way. in the show.
I don't know who this guy Joe Pastrito
Yeah.
is. I feel like I need to know.
You probably want to look him up. I'm just gonna say you guys probably want to be friends.
But in any case, I mean, there's no reason you couldn't have. Again, there's no technical, physical reason you couldn't have co-located airports and spaceports. It's just historically, the aviation industry also has not liked mixing rockets with planes. Commercial aviation, very low risk, extremely safe, super highly regulated. Rockets, still pretty risky, still pretty volatile. Like the commercial aviation guys do not like having bombs that you purposefully light on fire and shoot in the air in the same airspace as United Airlines, So.
Yeah. In our last 5 minutes, I want to talk about scale in the future. So, how big can your platforms be?
Yeah.
How, if you had a customer that wanted a Seattle to San Diego route, could you also put that in every major city of every major port in the world? Yeah. I think yes. So, how can you scale to that?
Yeah, so there's absolutely no, we've looked at, the short answer is every city on a major waterway, so think not just the oceans, but the Great Lakes, places like that could have a spaceport, absolutely. So there could be hundreds of spaceports, and they could be linked by point-to-point rockets. That's the hardest part of that is building the point-to-point rocket, right? The platforms are relatively trivial. At that point, it's more of a financial challenge of having enough traffic coming in and out of that platform to justify the expense of maintaining the platform. There's also a last mile challenge. So like Uber Air will be a great solution. Having unmanned helicopters picking people up 20 miles offshore and bringing them to downtown San Francisco or downtown Seattle or whatever. That's a lot better than a ferry that might take 2 or 3 hours. Right. But you think about when I go to the airport here in DC, it might take 2 hours for me to get to the airport. So a 2-hour ferry ride, okay, maybe it's not so bad. But Uber Air and unmanned kind of drones in the future will fix that. So yeah, totally feasible. How big a platform can we get? We know how to build platforms big enough to serve Starship. We have people on our team who worked on the oil rigs project before we started the spaceport company. We're in conversations with the Space Force about those concepts. Extremely highly capital intensive.
What range is that? Is that 100 million? Is that $1 billion? Is that 100 billion?
So SpaceX wants to have a boat that floats that can drive around the whole ocean, launching and catching starships. That's probably on the scale of $10 billion. We're looking at like building an aircraft carrier, something larger than that. Okay. We think there are other ways to do it that are not mobile, that are fixed, that look more like an oil rig that's attached to the seabed, or something even simpler that could be 2 orders of magnitude cheaper, like much cheaper. But Elon wants what Elon gets, so that's why they haven't done the fixed platforms yet. They're hoping to figure out a way to have that mobile system come to fruition, is my understanding.
Sean is saying take 2 aircraft carriers and switch them together as a catamaran. Marrotta, were you there at Liftport when we came up with that 3 ship plan? Yeah. I am 100% committed that is going to be what you guys ultimately build. So if you want those designs, let me know. All right.
Operating ships is really, really expensive, and you need to have a lot of cadence to pay to maintain them. That's the trick. You need to have a lot of demand. So
we got 1 minute. Tell us what 5 years from now looks like and 25 years from now. Go.
Oh gosh. So 5 years from now, we'll have there'll be daily Starship launches. There'll be Stoke will be operating pretty regularly. You'll have 1 million satellites in orbit. The Chinese space program will have collapsed. And 25 years from now, 25 years from now, gosh, I'll be retired in my O'Neill space colony at L5.
Hey,
Enjoying my, I don't know, whatever birthday I have at 25. 25. So,
Right on.
yeah.
China collapses. That was unexpected. All right.
Well,
Thanks so much.
I was gonna say, for me, if I'm still alive 25 years from now, I'll just be going up and down Michael's elevator as just a frequent guest because I won't have the mental capacity to know where I am anyway. But I'll be having fun.
Drilling on the elevator buttons. Right on.
And on that, Tom Marrotta, thank you for being with us. And we got to go because we have another appointment. And so on Monday, Janet Ivy Dusing, a longtime host of the popular series Janet's Planet, is going to be with us for the first time. I am very much looking forward to that.
She's great. And I haven't talked to her in years.
We will see you then, 8 p.m. Eastern, as always. For Michael Lane and Sean Key, I remain Thomas Andrew Olson. Keep watching the skies.